All right. Hey, I hit the button to say that we're going, but I need people to type chatty things or something to see that if this is really working. I don't trust it. There was a chat thing I was in before. How do you tell how many people are looking?
If you, I think if you
I
pull up your YouTube video, it'll have a live count on it.
I see. Oh, here's Jesse says works, but it doesn't appear in it. I see it over on this other chat thing over on this other page. I don't see it on the little chat that you and I, Dan, were testing.
Right. As long as you see it, that's important. You'll just have to read to me if something comes in.
Okay. All right. Hello. So we're starting. I have no agenda. I haven't written anything down or anything like that. I'm winging it, and I'm looking to see the people that I see. Something that says 11 viewers so far. So Dan, if you pull up a thing that's for the live chat, do you see something more?
Well, if I do that, then
it might make your internet connection sad.
Yes, exactly. So I have to stay focused right here.
Okay. Okay. All right. You guys let us know if there's any kind of issues. All right. So I can say what a big day it has been. And now I gotta just pop out and look at the Kickstarter and see where we're at. It says 64,367. And the funny thing is that it was under 50,000 like 24 hours ago. We just have been, and so poor Dan, I'm calling him like twice a day. Like, we need more stretch goals. We gotta keep these stretch goals going. And I think we now have one more stretch goal made up besides the ones that are on there, but I doubt we'll go that far. I doubt.
But we doubted we'd get this far too, right?
Yeah.
This is also a big day though, Paul, not just for the Kickstarter, but you have been making YouTube videos for 9-10 years, something like that. Like, you were kind of an early adopter of YouTube, and this is your first ever live stream.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of putting together the videos that are short and sweet. And you've helped me. You've probably made like 40 of my most recent videos. As opposed to like me turning on a video camera and yammering into it.
Right.
I don't understand how there'd be much value in that. Oh, I can't see my little chat thing. There we go. Sound is good, video is good. Oh, good, because I got a whole bunch of fans aimed at my laptop because it's getting really hot. I've got too many things happening at once on my laptop, and my poor laptop is sad. I'm overwhelming. I think I've got about 100 tabs open right now. All right. So I'm thinking that we're going to talk about rocket oven stuff. And, of course, the Kickstarter. Don't Hear the Fans says, I think it's Martha LE7, or maybe it's Mart Hale 7. Noise canceling is working. Oh, okay. So maybe now I'm curious, what is Marthale 7? There's probably a story on that name. It's Mart Hale. Okay, that makes more sense. It looks like Martha LE7. Okay. Dan, do you feel that you're an expert at making rocket ovens now because you have edited so much video?
Yes, I started off knowing absolutely nothing about rocket mass heater technology, J-tubes, anything to do with any of this kind of appropriate technology, permaculture stuff. But having, for like the last 8 months, just gone over just gobs of hours. I mean, I was gonna say hundreds, maybe it's not quite hundreds of, well, actually, yeah, hundreds of hours of footage. If you put in all the stuff from the ATC and the PDC last year, that was 177 hours of it there. Hundreds of hours of video footage going over all this stuff. I would say that I can talk a lot about rocket technology now. It's going from zero to, I wouldn't go as far as expert, but because I have never hands-on built it, but having been at Wheaton Labs last week and a half ago, something like that, to get some additional video footage, I was there with Chris McClellan, Uncle Mud, and I was able to speak very intelligently with him about what was going on with the rocket ovens and rocket mass heater technology. Whereas 6-8 months ago, not a clue.
Also, you took some video of Mud and I trying to add to the Rocket Mass Heater Myth series. In fact, you know what? As long as we've got 19 people viewing, which seems like not very many, and we've got some people that are obviously willing to chat. Have you guys seen the Rocket Mass Heater Myths series? And the reason why I bring it up is I kind of feel like rocket mass heater stuff, when you look at Google Trends, it's actually going down for rocket mass heater stuff. And as I try to explore that and say why, I think a lot of it is that there's an enormous amount of misinformation. And I think another big thing is that, you know, we make it really clear that you heat your home with 1/10 the wood. And I think we've proven that utterly and completely over and over and over and over again. But I think that the problem we're having is that we probably have 10 times more buy-in if we say, oh, it reduces your firewood need 30% as opposed to 90%. But there's also a bunch of misinformation going around. So you recorded Mud and I adding to the Rocket Mass Heater Myth series, and I don't know when we'll put that video out, maybe in a month or two. But that video, we talked about insurance stuff and regulation. And so, oh, here, we have notes. I think we have to create a mailing list outside of Google so they can't kill our audience. But it says, Warren says, but these guys with the welded metal ones, and we've been at the mercy of Google for too long. Okay, the welded metal ones, the welded metal ones can work, but you got to keep them from getting too hot. In fact, that was another video that we were wandering along, and I said, Dan, video me talking about this. And so we had what looked like a Peter Vandenberg P channel that was rescued from some system, and it was kind of all rusty and stuff. And then, but you could definitely see the difference on it between spalled steel and melted steel. And so we got a good close-up of that, and really helps to explain it. The thing is that the stuff that is not metal, we can get it much hotter. And so then with the metal stuff, for the temperatures that we want, we gotta get it. I mean, steel will spall. If it's iron, it'll do better, because iron doesn't spall. Iron melts at about 2600, which is the same as steel. But the steel has the carbon in it, and then basically the carbon causes the spalling. But here's a fascinating thing. We had the Honeydew Carpenter guy was here for a couple of days, and I'm sorry, Dan, that you weren't here when he was here. But got into a lot of very extended conversations with him, and I'm saying, you know, cement spalls at 600 degrees, and he's saying, well, I know, and you know why it does that, right? And you know, and so then he's telling me all about it. So he's come up with a way that there's so many air holes in the cement that because what happens is with regular cement, there's a collection of different kinds of air holes, but they're all like they're air pockets more than anything else. And so then they heat up and get bigger, and then they pop off bits of cement. And so instead what he's done is he's designed a system that has, it's more like a sponge, like air can move through it and water can move through it. And because of that, it does not spall. I think he says it starts to spall at 1200 degrees instead of 600. And so I basically think that if we were to get something that's got the ceramic fiber on the inside wrapped in a layer of his Aircrete, then that would probably work out extremely well. And then we could push for 3000 degrees without a problem. All right, I'm going to read. So you can't, Dan, you can't see the comments that people are saying here?
I can't, no.
So he says, so Johnny says, good evening, Duke. Is it just me? When I look at me, I see a mirror image of me, and it says, and that medal I got from Sepp Holster, it says the Duke backwards. Is it just, does it see backwards to everybody?
No, I see everything normal as it normally would be in your office. It's not a reflection on my side.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's just for me, so I can like, oh, it's a mirror. Yeah. Okay, I get it. All right. Hi from Western Australia. Why are more rocket stove mass heaters not made of cement? It's because of the spalling. But the Honeydew Carpenter guy, he knows his stuff, and he's testing this. And I think he's onto something. I mean, I don't think it'll work for the temperatures we're shooting for. And he is trying to put water glass into it. He's experimenting, and he's trying it out, and he's saying the words that I so desperately needed to hear, and that is that he's testing it. He wants to see how it goes after like 2 or 3 years of intensive, heavy use. And I'm really curious to hear back how it did. But I think he's onto something, and he's got a Kickstarter he's going to do here in a couple of weeks. But I think it's all about trying to sell his Aircrete stuff, not about doing a shippable core. And I kind of wish that it was about a shippable core.
So what is the advantage with doing the Aircrete versus, say, the DuraBoard? Because the DuraBoard is obviously light and it works. It's fragile, but we can line with fire bricks to mitigate the fragility. Is it just a cost thing? Because DuraBoard's expensive.
DuraBoard is expensive. DuraBoard can tolerate temperatures of like 3000 degrees. It says it's rated to like 2700, but we've pushed it past 3000 before. And the other thing is that you can't really make a core that's just DuraBoard. You got to have something that'll kind of hold the DuraBoard together. And I think that's where the Aircrete comes in. So I think a combination of the Aircrete and the DuraBoard is going to be a great way to go. And then of course add in some fire brick so it could be durable against the firewood coming in. Oh right. Man, look at all these comments. The Duke reads normally. I've been following his channel, and he has great experiments. So, and in fact, he told me something. Julianne of Dirt Patch Heaven asked me about what he was doing, and I said, Portland cement spalls at 600 degrees, so I don't think it's going to work out well. She passed that on to him, and apparently he made a YouTube thing that was kind of like, showing it being moved past 600 degrees. And apparently he was trying to thumb his nose at me. And it's like, thumb it, baby. Right. Thumb it.
In the name of science. Yes.
Yeah, do it. So Jocelyn says, nice haircut, Paul. So this morning, my hair was I needed a haircut 2 months ago, but we have had so many events here, and now we're wrapping up the Kickstarter. I just haven't gone into town to get a haircut. So Jocelyn wanted to try. She felt like anything she did would be better than the way it looked before. She wasn't going to let me come onto this thing today. So she cut my hair. I think it turned out fine.
Yeah. Good job, like, Jocelyn.
Why go to town?
Exactly.
I'll stay home. So Mart Hale, he's saying DuraBoard is hard to beat. It is proven. Yeah, we got a lot of experience with DuraBoard, and that's what a lot of this stuff is constant experimentation. But you know what? I think with rocket mass heaters, there's so much room for improvement, and it's like I kind of feel like we're not that far away from some experiments to get to the point that we're using 1/20th of the wood of what a conventional wood stove would use. And yet it's like people just aren't going to believe it. And so Ernie is so angry because when he was young, he was told, if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. And Ernie was very involved in the initial stages of the development of the rocket mass heater. He's built 700 of them. Most of those he built on, when he was working with Ianto Evans. And now he's done so much more to push it even farther and farther and farther. And it's like, we've proven it. It's no longer for tinkering just in garages. It's prime time, baby. And we're getting it into codes. It's insurance companies are accepting it. It's when you convert from electric heat to a rocket mass heater, you reduce your carbon footprint as much as parking 7 cars. So, and the Tesla is still on the edge. I mean, the Tesla reduces your carbon footprint, but it doesn't eliminate, the carbon footprint for your vehicle. But, switching. So basically it's maybe it's the equivalent of replacing 14 vehicles on the road with Teslas would be the same as one person switching from electric heat to a rocket mass heater. So, all right. I kind of went off on a tangent there a little bit. But the thing is, a lot of people are saying that the rocket oven stuff is going to be the gateway drug to the rocket mass heater. And I kind of feel like while I've added some innovations to the rocket mass heater space, I have not added any innovations to the rocket oven space. And but my job is more to try to figure out what's going wrong and try to fix it. Hence the Rocket Mass Heater Myth series. And I think that the rocket oven video is a huge step towards solving world problems, because the more people learn about rocket ovens, the more people learn about rocket mass heaters, and the more we solve global problems dramatically. This is a dramatic global fix. If half the people who live in an area that need heat use this, I mean, it seriously solves problems. And it seems like all the people that are getting very concerned about global warming, it's like, well, how do you heat your home? Oh, with electric, and it's like, that's a huge part of the problem. Well, I don't want to be cold. Oh, I'm not saying be cold. I'm saying use something that doesn't have as much of a carbon footprint.
And the rocket the rocket oven, there are other places in the world where that is their way to cook, because they don't have access to propane, they don't have access to natural gas, and the alternative is cooking over an open fire. So if they can actually do something to enable them to have a baked good or a pastry of some kind, they're turned into a rocket oven because that's all they have. So it's not just a gimmick, it's not just something neat, it's actually a necessity to a point in other parts of the world. So
I agree. I like the story of Ianto Evans going to Africa and trying to introduce solar ovens. And then he came back 3 months later and all the solar ovens were gone. And everybody had really shiny jewelry. And so basically it was not a cultural fit. And that's when the rocket oven was born, is when Ianto came up with it in order to help them, because they're kind of like, we are going to cook with wood in our home. That's just what we're going to do, without a chimney. So they had all kinds of lung and eye problems. And so then he brought them the rocket oven. And then they could still, it fit with their culture, and they could get their cooking done with 1/10 the wood. And so then, and of course it's, the women do the cooking. And so the woman in the house will then tell her husband, like, you're gonna get me one of those.
Right.
And so then that's how they come about. So
to put the 1/10 of the wood for cooking in context here, just a few weeks ago, Erica Wisner was running the peasant PDC at Wheaton Labs, and during that, they were using the rocket oven a lot to actually provide the cooking for the food there. And during that time, Erica was able to start with a cold rocket oven, put in just over 3 pounds, I think it was 3.5 pounds of wood sticks, and cook 8 pizzas in just under 30 minutes with 3.5 pounds of wood.
I think it was 5 pounds of wood.
Was it 5? Okay.
Yeah, and I think that they got up to 500 degrees like in less than 20 minutes. Maybe it was 15 minutes. And they went over 500 degrees to cook the pizzas, but the 8th pizza came out in under 30 minutes. So the whole time from lighting the fire until the last pizza is done was under 30 minutes.
Great. Quick shout out to my friend Roy, who's watching. What's up, Roy?
I think I see the star of our Kickstarter video in the background there popping around once in a while.
Would that be
Little buddy?
Tyler? Oh yeah, the Kickstarter video, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Kickstarter video.
He's hanging out in the back. He heard your voice and came running in here, so he wanted to see what was going on, and now he's occupying himself back there. So yeah.
Will you please turn the voice back on?
Oh, he's asked me to. I put the earphones in so he can't hear you anymore, and he's asked me to turn it back on so he can hear.
He wants to be able to hear. I see.
Yeah.
It's like, but you got to have those headphones.
Yeah, there was too much background noise, I think, on my end. So.
Yeah. Damn, that's too bad. All right. Aircrete Harry, which sounds like a different person than Honeydew Carpenter, but has the name Aircrete right in the name. I have a new rocket stove design I've been working on since last year. I think you're going to love, and thank you for the great videos on building rocket stoves. Well, I think I've not put any videos out about rocket stove, and I want to emphasize that I think it's super important that we get our vocabulary correct. We got to say rocket mass heater instead of rocket stove. And the reason is that we have had, like, when we talk about, like, why is rocket mass heaters, why are they not like 100 times more popular right now? And I think it's a list of 60 little things, and we've figured out 25 of those little things, and we've got some progress on those, and a bunch of them we haven't figured out yet. But one of them is that we keep interchanging rocket stove with rocket mass heater. But what happens is people learn that a rocket stove is like a little camp stove, and then a rocket mass heater is in your house. And so they think that you're putting this camp stove inside the middle of your house, and that's not cool. And it's like, yeah, that is not cool. We're not suggesting that. It's a vocabulary mix-up. We got to get better at this vocabulary.
That does help with insomnia, though, if you bring your rocket stove in the house.
Yeah, it cures everything, including cancer.
Right.
You will not have any more problems for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Which will be about 2 hours. All your problems then go away. All your debts go away. Everything. Life is sweet. Mean people. All the mean people are gone.
I think we should probably somehow flash a disclaimer on the screen right now, right? That we don't recommend you actually do this.
Don't.
Right?
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay.
In fact, in 2012, Ernie and Erica were teaching a workshop, and I was there because it was in the Missoula area. And I thought the event was going really great. In fact, the event is the one that's in the 4 DVD set, Wood Burning Stoves 2.0. And so it's after hours. We're all kind of kicking back. It's at the end of the event, and we're having a good time. And then this one guy, who's a cocky, and I'm trying to think, like, I want to use the full beauty of the English language. Now I'm like checking myself. But
hey, the earbuds are in, so you can't hear.
So this guy this dumbass. He says he's going to build a rocket mass heater in his greenhouse, only he's going to route the exhaust into the greenhouse, just like let it vent right there in the greenhouse. And so Ernie and Erica and I both said, no, don't do that. And he says, well, you said that the exhaust is almost nothing but steam and CO2, right? That is true. And plants like steam and CO2. Actually, plants like steam plenty, but CO2 and they like steam when it's converted to water vapor, which is probably going to happen. But CO2, they only like that during the day, and they only like a little bit. And you're talking about taking all of the oxygen out of the room and converting it to CO2. And he somehow ignored that, and then he kept insisting that the three of us were. See, there's this. I'm not sure what to do. It's my channel. I can say whatever the fuck I want, right? So he was thinking that the three of us were dumb fucks, and he was a brilliant genius for thinking this up. So the very next morning, Ernie, Eric, and I had to record this podcast of like, never do that. Never. I mean, when you're trying to talk about, because there are certain plants that really respond well to having additional carbon dioxide, but not all of them do. Only certain plants do. And then it's like just a little bit. It's like just the tiniest little bump in CO2. And then they're like, ooh, I like this. But you go over that even a little bit, everything dies. And it's like, but I couldn't. So this guy, I mean, that problem is about to work itself out. This guy is going to do it, and then he's going to walk in there and drop over dead. And it's like, well, I guess that worked itself out. I mean, I don't know how more emphatic we could be. Don't do that. And he is being even more emphatic that we're stupid and he's brilliant to go ahead and do it. So do not put a rocket stove or anything that vents to the inside of the room, especially into a room where it's getting its air for the fire from, because eventually it'll burn up all the oxygen. If you have a natural gas stovetop and you're in a sealed kitchen of an average sized kitchen, and you turn that natural gas stovetop, you light it and you turn it on, and you put it at full heat, then it will consume all of the oxygen in that room in 45 minutes. The only way anybody is able to run a natural gas burner for longer than that is that the room is so well ventilated.
Yeah, I think usually we're looking at 3 air exchanges per hour. And so you're cycling fresh oxygen in all the time.
So I'm going to read Jocelyn's comment. The rocket oven is so easy to use. We're on grid and have relatively inexpensive electricity, yet baking outside keeps the heat out of the kitchen. Awesome. When we don't have air conditioning. So awesome when we don't have air conditioning. So yeah, Jocelyn's been, we parked the rocket oven right outside the front door, and Jocelyn's been using it for lots and lots of baking on warm days. All kinds of beautiful stuff coming out. And
if you've backed the Kickstarter at $15, oh no, maybe it's even $1. How to use the rocket oven for cooking, like cooking with the rocket oven micro documentary we're doing. I think that's at the $1 level. So you just donated $1, you get to see Jocelyn baking spaghetti flavored cake in the rocket oven, among other things.
Yeah, at $1. In fact, I think we've got like 5 microdocs at the $1 level. I mean, I think we do an awesome job with the Kickstarter. So many other Kickstarters are like, why don't you put in $5 to our Kickstarter and we'll send good vibes your way? And first of all, I don't fucking believe that for a second. I suspect that they take the $5 and they don't give you another thought. That's what I think happens. So, and then what we've done is we've set it up so for $1, we will not only give you thanks in the form of actual thanks with your name in it, but it's kind of cool the way we do it. But we have, like, I think it's now 7 or 8 different commercial items that you get for $1. So I think it's like probably 20, 25 bucks worth of stuff for $1. And then at $5, it gets even richer. By the time you get to the $15 level, I think it's like 4 full-length commercial DVDs, plus probably 8 or 9 hours of other commercial video content, and at least 10 ebooks. So there's lots and lots of stuff.
And a pizza party.
Oh, right, the pizza party. So, all right. So Dan and I first met because Dan supported my World Domination Gardening Kickstarter.
2014.
And
Actually,
we did a thing for that. And so what we did is we said, if we hit this stretch goal, we're going to redo the whole workshop again, but in Montana. And we'll add that video in to the video for that Kickstarter. And we said, we will invite 20 people from the Kickstarter. So what we did is we said, everybody who's supported the Kickstarter, who wants to come? And so we got a bunch of emails from people that said that they wanted to come. And then we picked the 20 out of all, I think like 40 people said they wanted to come. And so then we picked 20 people that were the ones that contributed the highest to the Kickstarter to come out. And so Dan was one of those 20 people. And I don't know, I thought the event was pretty cool. Although for that event, when it got to be 5 o'clock, I turned to the 20 students and I said, okay, it's 5 o'clock, get the fuck off my property.
Yeah.
And
Wasn't expecting that.
but
you
come
had
back
good
tomorrow
reason.
for the next day. But this time what we're doing is we're going to allow people to pitch a tent if they want, or they could rent one of our structures, or things of that nature, or they could stay somewhere local if they want, stuff like that. But it'll be a 2-day long pizza party. And Jocelyn says, do we have a thread for the pizza party yet? I don't think so. I haven't made one. But we're going to make it so that everybody gets a chance to use the rocket oven. And we're going to give everybody a chance to fire up like a rocket mass heater and kind of experience it. And then, of course, I'll do the tour that we do. I mean, when we did the tour last year, we videoed it, and it was 5 hours long. And then we, just before the PDC this year, we did the tour, and it wouldn't fit in a day. But that was with people who had so many questions, and we had to have conversations and stuff. We didn't finish it. We didn't finish the tour at the lab, and we didn't finish the tour at base camp. It just went over time. It just went too long. So we're going to have to find a different way to start doing this stuff. But we'll split it into 2 different days. And so I'm thinking people show up like Friday evening, maybe 6 or 7. Pizza party happens. And then we'll have all day Saturday. And then I could tell everybody to get off my lawn at like maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday. Get out of here. Get the fuck off my land. Something like that. But I thought it worked out really good when we did it for the World Domination Gardening thing. I mean, you're here. You seem to have survived.
I did. Yes.
You still talk to me.
Though I had just moved to the area from Atlanta, and I did not understand what a Northwest, in particular, a Western Montana spring was like. It was because it was in March of 2014 when you had the event, and I thought, oh, spring, because having in Atlanta, I mean, the birds are out, the pollen is blowing everywhere, and so we just moved to Idaho, and that workshop was 2 weeks later maybe, and I get out to your mountain, and I was poorly equipped for the weather, and there was still snow all over the mountain. It was frigid, and I was just wearing like these real thin rain boots because that's all I had for foot gear. And that was my wake up call to, you live in the Northwest now, it's time to get some winter gear.
Well, and we'll be doing this around the beginning of October. I think like October 6th or something like that. And it's much warmer in the beginning of October than it is the end of March.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll be closer to being like the beginning of May. No, the end of April. It'll probably be feeling like that. So think a good month later than what you were experiencing.
Right.
All right.
How are we on comments?
Okay, it says you have shown it outside. Have you installed it inside? And so the answer to that is that it is designed for inside use. The one that we have is designed to be used indoors, but we haven't hooked it up indoors yet. We do have 2 rocket cooktops that we currently have installed indoors, one in Cooper Cabin and one in Allerton Abbey. They are both batch box style, and I think I need to make a video. So somebody was saying something about, oh yeah, like, oh, this is my first ever live thing, and I kind of feel like just having me sit here and yammer, it isn't as fast to learn things, and then I might talk about things people don't want to hear about. So I like making the YouTube videos where it's like information intensive.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, here's a 2-minute video on something. But I think one of the videos I might need to make is going to be about the batch box styles. We're not having great luck with batch box. And when Peter is here, he gets the batch box stuff to work quite well. And then if it smokes at the front a little bit as he's getting it started, he's like, yeah, what's the big deal? And I kind of feel like that's a big deal. I can start a JTube every time without any smoke in the room. And so and then of course Ernie, he kind of gets a big wad of paper and lights it out here, waits till it gets burning good, then he shoves it inside. And I kind of feel like I don't want to do that. I don't want any smoke in the house at all. And then I recently saw a comment where somebody said they don't want anything to do with any of these rocket anythings, because every time they see a picture, it's always got all this soot like right over the wood feed. And I kind of feel like, yeah, if there's soot over the wood feed, that's a system I don't want in my house. So one of the things about that particular one that's in there, that's featured in the video, the one that we keep running outside, is it's designed to be portable. It's on wheels, so we can move it around.
Right.
And the heat riser, in order to be able to have a wood feed that's a full 16 inches tall, so you could put full-size sticks in it, you have to have a heat riser that's 48 inches tall. But you'll notice, but if it's 48 inches tall, then the oven's going to be way too high. So we're getting some editorial comment from the back row there, the back seat.
Sorry, pipe down, son, pipe down. All right.
He told you no.
Yeah, we'll have to deal with that off air.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay. So if you make the oven part like way too high, then of course nobody wants to use that. And so now one possible solution is the idea of having a full-sized riser and a full-sized wood feed. But I kind of feel like the thing to do is to set it up so that it's on the edge of a deck. And then what you do is that you walk down the steps of the deck, and then there's the wood feed off to one side. And then put your full-sized wood in there, and then you get a full-sized riser, and the draw is stronger and everything like that. It all works out just great. And then we were talking about having it inside or not. Then it's less likely to smoke back. Right now, the sticks are so tall, they're sticking out of the wood feed, and sometimes we get a competing chimney, which I don't want to have happen ever in the house. Mm-hmm. And so that means I need to be able to have the wood fit down fully inside the wood feed. So that would be the only thing that's stopping me from moving this one inside of a structure is I think that the wood feed is too short. I can't put a block over it. And it's like you could definitely get wood and cut the wood shorter and put it in there, and then it'll be fine. The problem is the Gilligan factor, is that you can be damn sure that people are going to put sticks in there that are bigger, and then you're going to have the competing chimney thing. You're going to have little bits of smoke crawling up between this a couple sticks of wood or whatever, and then it's going to smoke back, and that's not okay in my book.
So we
All
either
right.
need to have, in summary, a J tube that is lower than the ground that you're standing on, so the oven is at a lower height instead of being too high up. And so right now, that's not fitting with your systems there to do something like that. But in the future,
Yeah.
we want to go in
One
that direction.
possibility is a permanent installation where the wood feed is like near floor level. So the actual burn tunnel might be going, like it might be sub floor level.
Right.
And so then you have a full height riser, so you can have a full height wood feed. So that would be a way to go. I think it's possible that somebody could try to experiment with, because now that we're working with these ceramic fiber systems, we're seeing a lot of really fascinating things. So it's possible that somebody might be able to experiment with a full-size wood feed and not have a full-sized riser, and we might find some solutions that work in that space without developing a competing chimney.
Right.
But those optimizations are yet to be done. All right, so I got some questions that came through here. What size is the riser in your current demo oven? I'm going to guess that it's like a little over 3 feet.
Yeah, I was going to say 36 inches, but that sounds, a little over that might be.
Yeah, so that means the wood feed has to be 25% shorter. Yeah. So, and we have had some people who just take regular firewood. They've been cutting it in half so we could do it properly. But we've also, since it's outside, we're using sometimes regular sized firewood, which sometimes smokes back. It'll develop a competing chimney. I mean, like, and the way it does the competing chimney is that you'll get like 3 sticks of wood together, and then the fire starts to go up between those 3 sticks of wood. And then in the meantime, there's lots of air around it. So then it gets going, and we just need to get a strong enough draw going so that doesn't happen. And part of that is to be able to, sometimes you put that brick over part of the wood feed, kind of a thing. All right. So we've been at this for 44 minutes. How long are we going to do this?
Until we run out of questions, maybe, right?
Oh, okay. Well, I think we got to the end.
Oh, is that it?
got-
Okay.
So then, let's see. A Darwin Award for that one guy. Okay. So we talked about Aircrete. And so there you go. I think it's the end. We talked about the Kickstarter. The Kickstarter is still going. It's got just a few hours left. While we've been talking, it has gone up to $64,787. So it's gained several $100s during this conversation. In fact, I think today already, just today, I think we set a record for dollars in one day for this whole Kickstarter. We're currently at $11,945 just for today.
That's incredible.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Right.
I guess we should I look forward to having the problem of we have to think of another stretch goal.
Right.
Although it'll happen maybe while I'm asleep, and then we'll wake up in the morning and be like, we got to think of something. So this has been really cool. I gotta say that when we started this, Oh, Jocelyn says she's going to make a separate thread for the pizza party, just in case it helps folks. Cool. Thank you, Jocelyn. When we started this, I was super nervous that we wouldn't get funded. And so, Dan, I don't know, we had this conversation like 25 times or something. And I was just crazy nervous that we wouldn't get funded at all. And then we got funded in 18 hours. That was a nice day.
Right.
And then then we made some stretch goals, and I was worried that I was being too arrogant by making 3 stretch goals. And that's like, that'll be kind of weird if we make 3 and we don't even get to the first one.
Right.
And instead we just blew past all of those. And I think we've now passed 10 stretch goals. So there's 10 more things that are added to this Kickstarter than what we had when we started the Kickstarter.
Right.
And we've got 4 more that are defined. And it used to be that I kind of kept it at 3 ahead. So it, I don't know why, but I did. And now there's 4 ahead, and because it is going so fast. I mean, here in a little bit, I guess we're about to hit the $65,000 stretch goal. And what's at 65,000? It's the microdock of the 12 rocket mass heaters at Wheaton Labs. And so that'll be probably 15 to 30 minutes. And then I don't know, we might wake up in the morning and the way things have been going, and we've already crossed the $70,000 stretch goal, which would be the Wafati microdock. And so, pack your bags. You might have to come over and video this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time to also mention that if someone has contributed at, say, the $1 or $5 or $10 level, less than 15, which is $15 level is where a lot of the stretch goals get unlocked as far as what the contributor, or the backer, I should say, has access to. If you've donated less than $15, you can now upgrade to just even $15 or more, and automatically, just because all these stretch goals have now been met, you just get them all now, no matter what, because the money's there to fund them all. So it's going to happen. It's not just, well, maybe if we reach it kind of thing. You'll get all of these that we've already talked about and ones we haven't talked about, just for maybe going from $10 to $15, just like that. So just something to consider if you're in that situation.
I think we've had more than 100 people in the last 2 days upgrade from some amount, like raise their the amount that's behind their backing, their backer value. And so, because I get a little email each time they do it, and it's like I'm getting my email box is just flooded with those messages, not only for people increasing their pledges, but also for people that are new backers. So there's been tons and tons of those. It's been huge. And somebody wanted to point out, like they felt like I should put it in the next update to say that the only way that you get the plans for the solar food dehydrator. So we're going to make one of the microdocks for the solar food dehydrator.
Mm-hmm.
And then now we hit the stretch goal 2 to provide the plans, but we're only providing plans at the $40 level and up. And so we've had, I don't know, like 40 people where they upgraded to the $40 level to be able to get those plans.
Right. And that's because they're not just plans laying around. I mean, Davin Hoyt is an architect and actually spent a lot of time developing the plans, and they're a product that he has for sale. So it's not something just to give away at a lower level, I guess, is the reason, right?
Yeah. There's a new question from PNW Dave. What about the Walker Riserless core? I have not experimented with that. I have no experience with it. Matt Walker is brilliant and great. So anything he's doing is probably really, really good. Peter Vandenberg came up with a riserless core engine that's the double shoebox. And it is, when he was firing it up, it apparently worked really good. But since then, we have had a lot of trouble with it. Now, I haven't fired it up myself, but it's like we were doing some work up there and somebody thought they would fire it up like a month or two back. And it was a mess. It was a disaster. So we're having all kinds of problems with it. It could be user error on our part, but it's kind of like, that's kind of what we're working with, is people who don't have a lot of experience with rocket mass heaters who are firing them up. And we've gotten to the point that the J-tubes do extremely well, and that these same people do well with the J-tube systems, but they're not doing well with the batch box systems. That's kind of why I feel like I need to talk about, well, and then the batch box systems have a riser, but the double shoebox doesn't have a riser. It is a really fascinating and interesting design, but I don't know. I'd have to, and I've asked Matt to come back out, but I think Matt's got some stuff going on, and so I'm not sure if we'll be able to get him back out here again. And I know that Mud was heading out his way and wanted to stop in and see Matt, and it sounded like things in Mattland might not be the best. So I hope that hope things go smooth for Matt. But I kind of should study it more. But really, a lot of this stuff, it's like we'll see videos of it working great and whatnot, and then comes the thing where we've got them here, and then the Gilligans use them, and then we start to learn that it's like, yeah, it works great if you really know what you're doing, but then but then when we test it with other people trying it out, that's when we find out how they really work, and we start to put the miles in on them, and we start to learn that they're not as great, that we're having challenges. So I was so excited about the batch box systems when they first came out. I was thinking, like, this is the future of rocket mass heaters, and instead I think it's turned into one of the elements that's causing us so much grief. So often somebody will go someplace, I don't know how many times, probably a dozen times I've heard of somebody where they came and they built a rocket mass heater, only what they did is they built a batch box system that didn't have a door. And it turns out that like, it takes 2 days to build a rocket mass heater J-tube system, and it takes 2 days to build a batch box system that doesn't have a door, but then that's useless. It's not done yet. And then it takes another like 3 to 7 days to build the door that goes on it. And so a lot of people are saying, well, I built you a rocket mass heater, bye. And then it's a disaster for people. And they're like, I hate these rocket mass heaters. And it's like, no, that's not a rocket mass heater. That's still being worked on. Then when they do have a door, then people get smoke coming at the front because they're trying to light it like a conventional wood stove. And in fact, they're getting smoke at the front the exact same way a conventional wood stove would have smoke at the front if you try to light it that way. But it's like, no, you got to prime the riser first. And it's like, it's just been difficult. It's been challenging. All right. Dan does awesome videography and editing for these things. Way to go, Dan.
Thank you. Who said that?
That was Jocelyn. She's awesome.
Oh, well, yeah, okay. Thank you, Jocelyn.
Graham says, I have modified my wood heater to a batch heater by adding some bricks inside to form a channel. Wow. It takes a while to start. Oh, good. So Graham knows you gotta prime the riser, but uses way less wood for a lot more heat. Wood is placed over the channel. Okay, I think you shouldn't do that, Graham. You gotta make sure that the channel needs to be totally open. In fact, that's part of the thing. Is the problem we've been having is that people are putting wood up against the channel. You gotta give it an inch of space between the wood and the channel. Let's see. Ed Graywolf. What is the ratio of firebox length to chimney length? What is the firebox length to chimney length to and width of it? All right. I'm sorry. I don't understand the question. Try again. Okay. Then Graham says, I can't install a mass heater until I have strengthened the floor. That's so yes, we did here. We strengthened the floor. And this, we call this the Fisher-Price house. It's a double wide. And we basically put some piers and supports underneath where the rocket mass heater would be. The channel is open all the way from the front to the back. So, all right. I'm thinking that by reading, Graham, by reading your thing, I thought it was saying like you've got a riser in the back that has a channel. And so then that channel needs to stay open. So, all right. My throat is telling me that I'm cooked for the day. How are you doing, Dan?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you before you go.
Okay, what's that?
All these stretch goals, all these videos that I'm editing out for the stretch goals, what happens to them after the Kickstarter? Like, are these going to be available out there for sale, or are they going away?
I don't know.
Okay, just curious.
I mean, yeah. Well, so for example, we've got the microdocs from some of the past Kickstarters, and they're available in the Permase.com digital market right now for like $3 to $5.
Okay.
And I'm going to guess. See, I kind of feel like if we state right now that that's what we will do, then we have an obligation, and then we'll get people that are like, you know, you said, and I kind of feel like, you know, I don't know, but I will tell you this, that we've had people after the Kickstarter come and say, hey, here's my $15. Give me all that stuff. And it's like, nope, you missed the boat. You want all that stuff now? It was $15 in the Kickstarter, but now it's $100 for all that stuff. I mean, I think we make things super sweet for our Kickstarter supporters. And one of the reasons is that, okay, this is my 7th Kickstarter. And at some point, I kind of realized when somebody supports me on their Kickstarter, or on my Kickstarter, when somebody supports me on my Kickstarter, they are expressing that they trust me that much. They have a lot of trust in me. And so I like that. I really appreciate that. The other thing is that if we have, let's say we made $500,000 on our Kickstarter, then I think suddenly permaculture and appropriate technology starts to catch the attention of a whole lot of mainstream people. And so I kind of really want to get the Kickstarter into more faces, people that have never heard of these things. And so when they go and they look at the list of stuff out of Kickstarter, then it's like, oh, there we are on the list. Whereas if our Kickstarter doesn't have as many people behind it, then those other people probably won't see it. They won't, because it's like that's how Kickstarter ranks things. It's by the number of people who've supported it. And so I kind of feel like, so what I do is I probably give up a lot of income in an effort to get the Kickstarter to do better in the eyes of Kickstarter, which then makes it get into more eyeballs for other people. And so we're infecting brains through another channel. I just think that's just super duper important. I want to reach those people, so I make the dealio super, super sweet. Which, you know, we also do a thing with kickbacks to the people who spread the word. One of the reasons why I started Permase.com is that I I signed up for a workshop that was going to be really cool. And then like 3 weeks before the workshop started, they canceled it. And I was really upset because I thought it was going to be a really cool workshop. And but one of the things I noticed is that permaculture people guard their mailing lists like hawks. They and they might have a mailing list of 3,000 people, but when they mail their people, they won't tell them about any other events. They'll act as if the events that this person is teaching are the only permaculture events that exist. And so I kind of thought, I want to facilitate making it so that more people learn about these events. And so because that particular workshop that I wanted to attend, if they could have gotten the word out better, because I ran into probably a dozen people that would have loved to have attended that event. But they never knew that it was existing. They never knew it was happening. And so I kind of wanted to have a place where we could get the word out better. So I know that on Permase, a lot of people will have an event, and we have a thing called Thread Boost. And I've set it up so whenever somebody posts to the workshop forum or to the PDC forum, they automatically get like $100 worth of free Thread Boost. So then instead of it being viewed by 300 people, it generally gets viewed by like 8,000 people. And so therefore their event is more likely to be full and happen. So anyway, I've kind of wandered off into a bit of a tangent. I like the idea that we have tons of stuff available in our Kickstarter, and that's a very sweet, sweet deal.
Absolutely. So no more questions came in there?
Somebody said facking connection. I don't know what to make of that.
Okay.
And that's the last thing on that list.
All right. Well, we got it covered then.
There we go. We went for an hour, and it seems like it worked okay. People seem to be hearing what we were saying, and I guess that another thing to talk about is somebody was saying like you're supposed to try and do this sort of live thing regularly, and but it says right here, I see it says on this one screen, it says 22 viewers, and I kind of think, man, I have 73,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like thinking the live thing isn't that great of a deal.
Well, I think if you have a set day and time that you always do it, it's more likely the word will spread and people know, oh, it's Wednesday at 6 Mountain. That means Paul's going to be on, and they'll know to go there then. Whereas this is your first one ever. I mean, it's likely that people just didn't know in time, or they'll get home later and see, oh, well, Paul was on and I missed it. So just my theory.
I thought the sound quality was good. The video quality was fine. I mean, we could probably do this kind of thing as maybe a podcast machine of some sort. Maybe.
Right.
So and feed the podcast engine. So maybe the thing. I know a lot of people were saying like you got to. Viewer count went up to 40 at one point. That's still like so few.
Right.
And so maybe we got to have more lead time and things of that nature. And then plus people are like, oh, you got to do it at 6 because that way people aren't at work. And I'm kind of thinking like, but usually at 6 I'm kind of running out of juice. I mean, I usually get out of bed at 5 and hard at it, and by 6 I'm starting to get kind of rummy, and by 8 I'm definitely done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of feel like if you want to have one of these be good, I should probably do it when I'm a little fresher. Maybe we should do it at 7 a.m. How about that? People aren't at work then. Get out of bed.
Right. Don't you want to start your day with Paul Wheaton?
Graham said, I came on this by accident. Would help if we knew in advance. Yeah, well, we created this on accident. Actually, Dan had the idea of doing it yesterday, And then it was like just an hour before we started, Dan said, "Oh, you have to like push these buttons."
Right.
And it's like, "Oh, okay. Do more of these live things. Don't worry about what time you do it." I was on one of the other Kickstarter, but I wasn't able to download because of losing internet. So if you did not get your goodies from a previous Kickstarter, then we got to get you squared away. We got to take care of that right immediately, like today, tonight. So let's see, are there anything else? You can plan the live streams days ahead and your subscribers see it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's another thing too, is I'm kind of getting the impression that that YouTube's not sharing stuff with my subscribers anymore.
Right.
You know, and so I've got 73,000 subscribers, but you know, it'll be like, oh, we'll tell 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you gotta, there's like a bell icon. I keep hearing about the bell icon.
Right.
You gotta click subscribe, then this bell, and then even beyond the bell, you gotta say, okay.
I lost connection here. I think Paul left. We're still live, but I lost Paul. I don't know if anyone else is hearing this or seeing this.
What's going on? Something just happened.
I lost you, but you're back.
Okay. So, Vention1MGTOW says, I bought the Rocket Mass Heater DVDs with Bitcoin. Thanks for being so flexible. And it's like, you know what, dude? You paid me in Bitcoin, and I didn't spend that, and it turned into like 10 times more money than what you gave me. And so now I got lots of coin. Wow. He says, I have the bell activated. Still didn't get notified.
Yes.
Yes, we're hearing you both. Okay.
I get that a lot from viewers on my channel, that they tell me repeatedly, different people, I click the bell, I still don't get notified of your videos when they come out. And it's like, some people say the hack to that is you unsubscribe and then resubscribe, and then that kind of like shakes YouTube, like, oh yeah, okay, I'll work now. The danger is that they unsubscribe and they forget to subscribe, and it's over. So I don't ask people to unsubscribe and then resubscribe, but that is something that I've heard works.
Okay, here, this guy Ryan, he pushed the button. Are Paul and the Fauches still enemies? You know, they contacted me in their little video. They said that I contacted them, but no, they contacted me and they said, she wanted to know if it was just her. Can I come and attend the PDC for free if I give you good PR? And I would like to suggest that I don't think she knows what good PR means. And in the video, we've had a lot of people still come into events and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, we saw that. It just seemed really douchey. They didn't really seem to have anything to complain about. So I kind of feel like I came through on my end. In fact, the kids were not supposed to be in on the classes, but you could see in her videos that the kids are in the classes. So yeah, I on the second day that they were here, they both behaved really poorly. Wow, I have never seen such awful behavior. And my thought is that, well, I'm glad I'm getting good PR, but I don't think I'm gonna do business with these guys again. And I just steered clear of them. And then he was just really mean for all the rest of the event. He just couldn't stop being mean. And wow, and you can see it because we videoed the whole event. That's part of the PDC or the Kickstarter last year, and you could see him in it being mean. And then they put up that video, and it's like, what the hell? So I think that they put up a video to warn people about what an awful person I am. And from their perspective, I'm glad to be an awful person. I mean, I'd hate to think what kind of person you got to be a lovely person by their standards. And so I'm totally cool with being an awful person by their standards. But I felt that the video is also really mean. It's just a really mean video. So I think in their video, you learn a lot more about the Fauches than you learn about me. I think in their video, I locked my gate, just like all the other gates on that road. And then they said something about unsanitary conditions, which turned out to be that somebody 2 months earlier saw a mouse in one of our poopers. And it's like, rather than telling me or telling Fred, they decided to be upset. I guess if that's all we're guilty of, or that's all that I'm guilty of, I think I'm doing really awesome. I think I'm fucking amazing. And the Fauches are mean. So let's see. Ed Greywolf, to get your stuff sorted out, why don't you post to the tinkering forum at Permase? Because then like a bunch of people will all try to help you all at once. Eric says, I was notified from Patreon. Oh yeah, I posted out to Patreon to let the Patreon people know that this was going on today. I should be Bitcoin retired by the end of the year. Oh yeah, man. Then I can quit this mechanic job and start touring permaculture projects. Come on out here, man. Jocelyn says, are you able to add a link to Dan's channel in the description to this? Oh yeah. Oh, I see. I'm sure I can. I don't know how, just the moment.
You can do it after the fact.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
can add in anything just like a normal video after the fact. Yeah.
I heard a rumor that I'm going to do it after the fact.
There you go. Yeah.
They seem to be upset at the conditions they felt the other people on your property were treated. It looked like they were stirred up by the others on your lab. You know, that was another funny thing, is it's kind of like they were here for the PDC. And so, yeah, what's up with these other people? And then it turned out that after the Fauch video, I went up on the lab to go and talk to these people. And then I got an earful. And it's like, so all those people are gone now. And it's kind of like, if you're upset here, then why are you here? And it's like, basically they wanted me to change the way I do everything. And it's like, no, I think you need to go buy your own land and do it all your way. I've got a different vision here. Have you considered going on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast? I'm totally cool with that, but I don't think I'm a famous enough dude. I would love to go on the Joe Rogan thing. I haven't seen very many episodes. I saw the one with Paul Stamets, and I've seen bits of others, but I think he only interviews people that are far more well known than I am. But I don't know, and plus I don't know how to contact him or anything like that. And I kind of feel like somebody who really knows his stuff would need to introduce me. And I think that Josiah said he was going to do it at one time, but I don't know if he did. Mine came through late in email. So was it from YouTube? Oh, here we go. So Jocelyn is saying, usually posting a thread in the Permase forum thread about the goodies is the best. I've found I can't post links here in the comments. Oh, yeah. All right. Anything else, Dan?
No, I think we're good. I just hope that everyone has had a chance to check out the Kickstarter. And I know we've put a tremendous amount of work into it. And I hope that we're able to transfer a lot of value to the viewers, and that everyone can get a lot out of it. So, yeah.
I think an important thing is that we worked on the project itself for 6 months before we started putting this stuff together for the Kickstarter. We probably worked on the Kickstarter specific stuff for 3 to 4 weeks before we started the Kickstarter. And so yeah, a lot of work, but I think a lot of people are kind of like, oh, I'm going to start a Kickstarter. I'll put one up tomorrow.
Yeah, no.
And I kind of feel like, no, you gotta put some skin in the game. You got to have a lot of skin in the game in order to have a successful Kickstarter, I think. I mean, this is my 7th successful Kickstarter. And so but I'm sure that there are people that succeed without skin in the game. But we put a lot of work in, and there was a lot of risk. We were, there's a possibility it wouldn't get funded at all.
Mm-hmm.
But we came through. We did great. So, all right. I think we're done. I got a huge red button that says stop broadcast. So
All right.
I think I'm going to hit that button. But thanks everybody for coming out and teaching me about how this YouTube live stuff works.
Awesome.
And
Thanks for having me on, Paul.
Thanks, Dan, for all the work you've put in on this project. Payday's coming, man.
All right. All right. Good night.
Bye, everybody.